Welcome to Meet Your Neighbor. I'm here in Madera Canyon with Friends of Madera Canyon President Rusty Lombardo. So Rusty, thanks for being with us today. Appreciate
Thank you,
taking the
Kevin.
time. And so Rusty, just give us a brief overview of Friends of Madera Canyon's mission.
Well, you picked a really good time to talk to me because we just changed our mission statement. After 37 years, we reevaluated our mission statement. And in the past, it was very U.S. Forest Service centric. For example, it said collect data relevant for short-term and long-term planning of the Forest Service, to support and assist the Forest Service in the maintenance and the cleaning of the canyon, assist the Forest Service in making sure that everybody had a rewarding experience. And we looked at that and we thought, those are all great action points, but it really isn't us. So what we did is we had some of our committee members and board members look at our mission statement, and we changed it. And the new mission statement reads, to be stewards of Madera Canyon and to keep it open for the enjoyment and education of visitors. And conservation through education is what we're all about. So I think it's worked pretty well because coincidentally, we just received the best outdoor activity through the Green Valley News Readers Poll. So
Yeah.
be it serendipitous or not, it seems to be working for us.
No, it seems like you got a great organization. So just in your personal opinion, what makes Madera Canyon such a special and unique place?
Well, for me, I think one of the most interesting parts of being in Madera Canyon is the weather, the climate. Okay, so you're asking me, what? We live in a desert. Well, we do, but we don't, in that we have these wonderful sky islands. So for example, if you were to start at the valley floor, 2,700 feet, and go to the top of Mount Wrightson, which is technically in the wilderness area, but visualized as part of Madera Canyon, you're at almost 9,500 feet. And if you think about traveling north, about every 1,000 feet in elevation, we gain about 500 miles north in climate.
Okay.
So what you do is you start out basically in the Sonoran Desert in Chaparral. You work your way up to the Great Alluvial Fan here, which is the Bajada, the grasslands. You progress into where we're sitting right now in sort of a mesquite bosque, and then through Mexican oaks, Arizona oaks, sycamores, acacias, and trees like that. And then you get up near the Madera picnic area and things transition into juniper and pinyon. And then as you get up to the top and start hiking into the Wrightson Wilderness area, you run into spectacular pines, and then eventually you get into above timberline where there's nothing. So in effect, what you can do is you can go from the Sonoran Desert into a tundra-like climate in less than a day.
Very interesting. So this is like catching all of the different habitats in Arizona in one area, correct? Like pretty much?
It would actually extend almost to habitats in Alaska.
Ooh, okay.
So when you think about that and you think about those microclimates and the great circle of life, think of all the different vegetation and wildlife that supports each of those microclimates. There are birds that only feed on seed in the Bajada. There are some that only feed on nuts and berries and things like that, midway. And then you get up into the highlands and you have a lot of insect feeders.
It's very interesting. Can you talk just a little bit about the maintenance Friends of Madera Canyon does in this area?
Sure. So as far as trail maintenance goes, we don't do any per se. That's done mostly by the Forest Service, by the Green Valley Recreation Hiking Club, and also by the Student Conservation Corps. But that said, we're very active in trail restoration. So for example, last year what we did is we had a project where we restored the Proctor Trail, now called the Accessible Trail. And what that was it was an old asphalt trail. Over time it had corroded, and it was really a danger for people walking with canes, with walkers, wheelchairs, even strollers. So we tore all of that up. We had it completely regraded and repaved to be ADA compliant. And we put along some benches where people could stop and take a rest. And especially down near Madera Creek, where it meets Proctor Road, there's a great area to sit which is a prime birding spot in the canyon.
Okay, is that kind of right behind us over here?
It's right behind us.
Because I can hear the creek in the background, and I was asking Rusty about it, and I believe the trail's just above us here too. So it looks like they've done a lot of restoration work with the sidewalks, and very safe place to bring anyone of any age.
So we do a big project about every year, and actually the parking lot here, the Proctor parking lot, was one of our first projects, as was the visitor information station, and most of the parking lots have been done by the Friends or in a joint venture with the Forest Service.
Okay.
And we've also replaced most of the bridges in the canyon as they washed out periodically or needed replacement or upgrades. Right now, if you were to drive to the top of the canyon, the turnaround, you would see that there's a project going on right now that is a regrading of that hill. It's a very steep hill. It's been eroded over the years. Kids sometimes slide on it in the wintertime if there's snow. Anyway, it's been pretty trashed out. And so part of our project with the Forest Service this year is to restore that. And we've done most of that. And next spring, what we're going to do is we're going to micro-terrace that, and then we're going to plant that with native plants.
Oh, great. Great. So can you talk a little bit about how COVID-19 might have affected tourism? Did tourism and the visits to the canyon, did you get more visits or less during COVID-19? How did that play out?
A lot more. And COVID was only part of a perfect storm. The other half of that was the Bighorn Fire.
Oh, yeah.
In Mount Lemmon, which in effect closed the largest part of the Coronado National Forest. So there were people just dying to get out. They were stifled by that area being closed, so they funneled down to Madera Canyon. And we are the official car counter for the Forest Service. Last year, we had an increase of 100,000 cars, which if we take an average of about 2.5 people per car, equates to another 250,000 people visiting a 3.5-mile-long canyon with only 160 parking spots. So there were some days in the weekend when we had like 1,000 cars.
Yikes.
And so there was some collateral damage. And again, it's always the few that ruin it for the many.
Of course.
So there were some trash problems, some litter problems, some trespassing problems. And then there was, of course, an incredibly dry summer in 2020. So there were people that were parked alongside the road on dry grass, and we were just so fortunate that we did not have any kind of fire resulting from a heated element on a car.
Yeah, okay. And can you just talk a little bit about the community outreach the organization does?
Absolutely, sure. In a normal world, we are constantly interacting with our community with presentations. We have bug nights here. We have hikes here. We have an annual scholarship that we award to a young student that aspires to continue their education in the STEM program. And our pride and joy is reaching out to fourth graders. We have a fourth grade program where the kids come into the canyon and they spend a half a day with a docent. And of course, that all went away with the COVID, and we had a lot of disappointed kids, and we had a lot of disappointed docents, and hopefully that will change.
Okay, and you touched a little bit about wildfire season, wildfires. I know we just had one up here. Can you just talk about the threat of wildfires to the area, and just a little bit about the latest wildfire? What happened? Was there any damage that's going to be permanent here from that?
Sure. So wildfire used to be a season. Now wildfire season is year-round. And every spring, right here where we hold our board meetings, we'll have the U.S. Forest Service fire boss come in and sort of talk about what we can expect. What's the winter been like? Has it been wet? Has it been dry? And also what additional resources they will add to their fire staff to maintain good fire watch in the Coronado National Forest during the season.
Okay, and then, we've talked a lot about the restorations the group has done here, touched on the wildfires. Is there anything you would just like to add that I haven't touched in this interview, maybe about the beauty of the place or something that stands out to you that we haven't talked about yet?
Well, it's certainly a spectacular place, a unique place, and One of the things that's of concern to us is climate change and of course the drought. And what we've noticed this year is a marked decrease in insects, reptiles, birds. And part of that is climate change, but the other part of that is actually commercial collectors that come in here and harvest our rarities, and then they sell them either in the black market or on eBay. And some of those rarities can bring in several $100s. So it's sort of diminished our count. It's going to take several summers like we had this summer, a rainy summer, to bring that back. So one of the things that we've proposed to the U.S. Forest Service is a protection initiative. And what that would do would be to protect all living things in the canyon and to discourage commercial harvesting. So those things take a long time. They take years, and we may not have years to wait. So in the interim, what we've done is approach the Forest Service about posting signs that would discourage commercial harvesting.
Okay, well, yeah, definitely, it's great that you guys are on top of that and that people are policing that, because this is such a beautiful place. Rusty is gonna, give me a little tour because I haven't been here in a while. Maybe go down to the creek, and I'm gonna take some pictures while I'm out. So if anyone's interested in getting more information on Madera Canyon or Friends of Madera Canyon, we are gonna be starting a group on NABUR called Friends of Madera Canyon. Rusty will be on there too, and I can get any question you have over to Rusty if you guys have any questions or thoughts you would like to share with Rusty. So Rusty Lombardo, thank you so much for being here with us on Meet Your Neighbor, and I look forward to the tour we're about to go on, and look forward to communicating with you on the group. So,
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everyone. Go out and enjoy Madera Canyon.